Hello everyone, this is Scott Harrison. He was my high school music teacher from grade 9 to grade 12. He currently teaches at Dr. G.W. Williams Secondary School in Aurora, Ontario. And Scott is a really big inspiration for me. He's the man that made me decide to go into music and encouraged me during that entire journey, which is why I thought he would be a great individual and educator to show you all. There you go. That was
English.
English.
Yeah.
There you go. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask you was, what is the most difficult part about being a music teacher?
For me, the hardest part is learning how to say no and try to have a life outside of this place, because it's a pretty amazing place to be, right? And I want to be there for the kids and have them do what they want to do, and it ends up being very long days. So I think that's the hardest part for me. I think the for most music teachers, the hardest part would be constantly promoting your program and defending your program with the science teachers or the visual arts teachers or the sports or whatever. I think that some people see music as frivolous. Obviously, we know that it's not, and it's important, but you have to kind of educate the public. So that's another very difficult aspect of it. Once you have a relationship with the staff, though, it becomes a little easier. And if you can back up your your demands with your programs and your expectations of the students, and the other teachers see that there's something of value, it becomes a bit easier. And then, of course, recruitment into the program is always difficult as well.
Yeah. So what would you say is like the best part, your favorite part of being a music teacher?
Everything, including all of that, educating the general public about the benefits of it. Watching a student go from first notes on a whatever instrument in grade 9 to playing in the provincial honor band or with a national band or something like that. Like it's. And it's you've gone into music, and there's been others as well, and there will be more, and that's great. And that's not my goal. Yeah. The goal is to show kids that music has value, and when they're still in it in grade 12, and we have a lot of grade 12s, then that's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you studied music formally. You went to a university. Would you say that you learned more about not just music, but teaching music from going to university, or from actually just teaching on the job?
So music, going the path that I went and the one that you're on is very different than like a math teacher or a phys ed teacher or whatever, because we actually take music education courses. So when you get to teachers college, you'll be in this, whatever general education classes with people who are maybe math teachers or science teachers. And when you say, well, in my music education classes, and they'll be like, huh? Pardon? Right? So you learn, philosophy of music ed and how to play the trumpet and how to play percussion and whatever, right? In those undergrad classes. And then you go to teachers college and you feel not prepared. And then when you're in teachers college, it kind of sucks. And then when you go into the job, like we have a student teacher now who hasn't learned so much in her life as she has been this past couple weeks, actually in it. And so it's kind of a weird thing to say that you have these degrees and you learn more on the job than you could ever reading a book on how to teach. Reading a book on how to teach is kind of saying like you're a chef after reading a book on how to cook, right? Like it just doesn't work that way. So I'm still learning. 15 years in, I'm still learning different ways, maybe not better, but different ways of doing things. New composers, new assignment ideas, ways to reach the kids, and the curriculum and all that. So it's way more. You learn way more on the job because it's, especially with music, it's automatic feedback. So you say, let's work on this section at A, and then you give your feedback and it's not better. Then you say, let's do it again because you didn't do this or that, and it's not better. You have to constantly be thinking of ways to say, we maybe do this better, right? Or here's another tip, blow more air or whatever. But the math teacher doesn't. Like they're like, oh, there's how you do the equation. Yeah. There's one way to do this again. But then this other physical exercise of playing the trombone, right? How to get a high G above the staff. Blow. Blow and hope for the best, right? Yeah, you learn an exponential amount more teaching than you ever could going to workshops, going to the OMEA conference or in your undergrad or in teacher college or whatever. Like way more.
Yeah.
Like you learned last year with your co-op, right?
Mm-hmm.
You grew a ton last year.
Yeah.
And you will learn more in that co-op than you will. Sorry. But you will learn more in that co-op on how to teach music and the physical act of teaching music and giving feedback and helping kids and doing out the fire here and doing this and doing that than you will in an education class. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But I hope that your professor doesn't hate me for that. But it's
She's
kind of
probably
true.
agree with you.
Yeah, it's true though, right? Like, and even in your education classes where you're teaching your friends on how to breathe or whatever. They already know they're musicians, they're your friends, right? But in here, grade 9 beginning band, you're going to learn a hell of a lot more and be a hell of a better teacher doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
So another question I wanted to ask you was, were your parents supportive of you when you decided to go into music? When you told them you wanted to go into music?
Yes, because they just wanted me to do something.
Mm-hmm.
They were shocked that I said music because they're not musical, but music was the only subject I was ever good at and I liked.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to be like, a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, typical parent thing. But they supported me the whole way through, which was quite nice because a lot of students don't have that mindset necessarily because the parents have this idea that they want to be a doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all they want to do is play the flute or whatever, right? Or go into being a mechanic or who cares, right? Whatever the thing is, against the parents' wishes, and it's honestly, it's part of it's not part of my job, but it is part of my job to help that student learn that they can stand up to their parents and say, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of students are afraid of that.
Hell, I was.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know exactly what I'm talking about that, right? So because music is seen as, but go back to the previous question, is a frivolous thing, right? So, and we have to. It's our job to demystify that, right? So I think that it's really important as a music educator that you develop a relationship with your students that they feel comfortable coming to you and saying, my parents don't want me to go into music. And they're like a killer trumpet player or something like that just wants to teach and they're great with the younger kids and all that. And it's just a lack of support on the parents' side. Or just not what the parents envision for their children. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with the student wanting to do something different.
Yeah.
But how many times have we seen someone go into law or whatever and they don't want to be a lawyer? Yeah. Right? And you see it with your friends. Right? You see people who go into something and their parents aren't supportive, but they just let them do it, right? And they end up being fine because they're happy. Yeah. Versus the student who goes into something that the parent wants to do and they don't even finish the degree. Yeah. Right? It's a sad state of affairs when that happens. Yeah. But part of being a music educator is and a coach, I would say as well, because it's a different relationship with a student. I think that it's definitely part of the job. It's an unwritten part of the job to be a counselor, and through everything, whether it's choice of program or relationship or whatever, you are definitely a counselor first, I would say. Yeah, teacher second.
Yeah. How do you demonstrate leadership as a teacher? How do you teach, not just demonstrate, but teach and demonstrate leadership as a teacher in the classroom?
I'm very honest with my students. Yeah, and I'm honest about what I put in. It's not about me, but I put in a lot, and I try to be the best musician and teacher and guide, I guess, that I can be, because I expect them to be the best student they can be whenever they're in a class or in an ensemble. And I do not accept anything less. And you know this, right? And I think in the end, the kids may be frustrated and be like, oh, playing that part again or whatever. I think they like that because I think they crave kind of like a structure. At the same time, we have fun, we laugh a lot, right? And I think that it's important to show that you have a serious time and crack a joke at the same time.
It feels so much more real.
Yeah. It shows me as a human. I think there's some teachers that are afraid to show the human side. I'm not. I am who I am, right? I'm not going to wear a suit and tie every day. I'm not that guy.
All right. Thank you so much for all of your answers and taking the time to do this interview. There's a ton of really good insight in there. I've certainly learned a lot from you, not just during this interview, but also in the time that I've studied with you. And I'm really excited for my peers to to gain that just a taste of all that knowledge as well.
Well, thanks. It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Of course. All right.